Hi, everybody. This is 999 days. 999 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, and soon to be 1,000 days. So, Richard has, we're not happy about this. 1,000 days. And we're finding out, oh my gosh, so many evils, unbelievable evils, right? And we're trying to piece together what happened in Richard's case, and it kind of spreads, it spreads out to other cases, and that's what we're discovering, that Richard's case is connected with at least one other case, and I'm sure more than what we think, because this is absolutely um, shocking for me. Um, another level. But I want to talk about today and our successful prayer rally. It's, when you're praying, where two or more are gathered together, there is the Lord. Anytime you pray in the name of God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost, it's a success, right? It's a total success. So, you know, this live stream is called Asymmetric Warfare. Okay, Asymmetric Warfare. If you don't know what that is, I think I have a great example that I've been saying for a long time, and it is the stars in their course fought against Sisera. And so, what does that mean? Uh, when we realized what was happening, we saw asymmetric warfare. We didn't know what it was, we didn't know what to call it, but we knew that there was an effort to sabotage the search for Richard. And the biggest success that they had was not contacting us, right? So, so they had such a head start on developing this cover up so that they would not have another Vanessa Guillen. And if you think that they're not capable of this, just think of JFK, right? We all know that that was a huge effort to cover up what really happened in the assassination of JFK. So they're capable, and when I'm saying they, I mean our agencies, our 15 plus agencies, our military, the CIA, the FBI, Homeland Security, that's the modern day, um, and ATF and U.S. Marshals, and even Texas Rangers, even um, the sheriff's departments. They're capable of really carrying out something this big as a cover up of a vicious murder of a missing soldier who was a whistleblower who was reporting. We're starting to get the leaks, and sexual assault is one of them. And it's connecting, of course, it has to do with children, and it's connecting with even more and with other cases, um, which is very interesting. And we have these autopsy reports that need to be verified, and at the beginning of all of this, we didn't have to reach out to anybody. They were all reaching out to us, right? They were all reaching out to us, and now it's silence, and we have uncovered so much of their crimes, and I'm sure they're conspiring, colluding together how to stop this, and they're conducting their own asymmetric warfare tactics. And I would say that this prayer vigil brought out, you know, um, the tacticians, I guess you want to call it. Everybody saw the ridiculous, hateful comments of Sam Adams. I hate to even mention him. And I'm thinking, maybe, we're narrowing it down. We've traced those phone numbers. Okay. We trace them, and we know that we trace them because it stopped. And we know that the teams of numbers from the vile, vulgar, and violent, so much violence has been perpetrated on us with the military operations, with the asymmetric warfare tactics, that we're starting to understand how they do it. And you are a lot less scared, when you understand how that this stuff is all like a psyop, that people are just trying to twist your thinking, twist how you do things, twist how you live your life, and what you buy, what you sell, what you'll tolerate, and even how you worship, and what you worship. And, there's a lot of grooming going on today, and you see it. And I think that they were trying to do that with Richard, and he didn't fall for it. He just didn't fall for it, and he made those reports, and he became a whistleblower. We're learning definitely for child pornography, sexual assault, and against children. It's coming up over and over again during these leaks that he was a whistleblower for that. And so I'm so proud of him for standing his ground and trying to protect children and trying to protect women, okay? And trying to protect other service members from the grooming of sexual assault, because until we find out who really was being sexually assaulted, and we have some people giving us things, but we're just trying to confirm everything. So it's very interesting, because what really comes up over and over again is Dallas Hart, Dallas Hart, Dallas Hart, Dallas Hart. So I'm so glad that he called us. I didn't buy what he was saying, and we still don't. And he shouldn't be angry at that, because he didn't back anything up. We have this handwritten travel voucher. That's not good enough. Where is the official documents from the military to us to explain Dallas Hart's role in all of this? Because absolutely his mother is involved. And I think that it is the duty of our military leadership to help us understand the case of our son. And they've lied and lied and lied, and they've tried to make us the investigators of our son's murder. But what they've done is they've made us the whistleblowers, and they've stripped us of our whistleblowing protection, and they have put us in harm's way. They've put a target on our back. And that's why Sam Adams feels so at ease trying to harass us and bully us and everything in this very, very important case. The authorities, including Cover Up Veronica, including the DA, Bill Hicks, including the AG, Jaime Esparza, including um, Senator Ted Cruz, including Senator Lindsey Graham, including Representative William Timmons, including the 44 four-star generals, including the Secretary of the Army, Secretary of Defense. They have stripped us of our whistleblower rights. They've exposed us. They've targeted us. They haven't protected us. And now we're getting these threats. We're feeling threatened. We're feeling threatened by people that we think are definitely involved in the case of our son. And at this point, that is pretty serious because we believe that the people involved in the case of our son, those that murdered him in a very brutal way and cut him asunder, dismembered him, and then divvied him up in like boxes or bags or whatever, his body parts, and put him in different locations. And so whoever is capable of that kind of very serious crime, that we're led to believe that we haven't gotten any official statements saying that that's not true. Don't worry about it. We're going to protect you. We're going to protect your victims' rights. We're going to protect your freedom of speech. We're going to protect your right to search for your son. No, we are left to be the investigators, the whistleblowers in our son's case, and we have been abandoned, not only abandoned, but exposed before we were abandoned, and put a target on our back. And now that puts us in real danger to these people that are capable of so much evil that we believe. So, and if this person, which we're attempting to trace, getting this information, and at this time, with the narrowing down that we've done, there's a few people that people know their names, but the most shocking of those would be the XO of Delta Battery 143. And we've prayed for Dallas Hart. If he's innocent, then that's wonderful. If he, and he should celebrate. But if he's guilty of participating in this absolutely violent, vulgar, vile crime against Richard, then he needs to be held accountable. And that's what this prayer vigil was partially about. Of course, we're praying for Richard 1,000 days, but we're praying for justice, but we're also praying for our service members and their families. We're also praying for the land. We prayed for all of the Team Find Richard Halliday to keep them safe, to keep them strong in this, really the knowledge of this kind of brutality against a friend, against a brother, against a cousin, against a godfather, against our son, and also a fellow soldier, a fellow service member. And when fellow service members are treated in such a way that their family's not even contacted and that they don't even respond to our request for official documents that are signed, that are stamped, that we know that we can trust, because they have lost their respect and their trust when it comes to Team Find Richard Halliday. They've lied to us too many times, especially about the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ATCOM, especially about that. And that I can even play for you, because I was going to do it yesterday and I couldn't find it quick, but I didn't look on Danielle's, because she had it for me right away. And so I posted it up. Let's see if I did. And I think it's very, very helpful. There it is. Let's see. Okay. See if everyone can hear me. This is, I don't know if it's really big. Let me see if I can get it. No, it's not going to work. I need to put it on Telegram. It just works so much better on Telegram. But I can show it to you to a certain degree. So here is the father-in-law coming into the store, and he was looking. If you look at it closely, he's there, right there in the middle is Richard's flyer on the door, and he's taking his time to really study it and look at it. And he comes in, and you have to understand, he works just right next door. Okay, he works right next door, so he can come in here pretty often. But why would he say, don't you can take this flyer down? And then when they went out to the second flyer that was on the freezer door for the ice, that was already taken down. So why would he say that? And then the other one was, see here, this one's really good, was when he is saying shh, shh. So I'll just freeze that picture real quick. And there he is. And I even have a better one. Here's the flyer on the door. And then here he is with his finger up. And you can even see another video of him doing that. Let me see if I have that. No, I only have the two up there. So, but we were there. We were there on the 26th of October. And that matches perfectly with there's a little discrepancy on when the remains that were found in Juarez, when they were found, October 7th or October 17th. But either one of those dates, maybe one was the autopsy date. And we're looking into that. But why do we have to look into that? Why can't the military? They should be shocked at this. But you see, that's not what we're getting reported. We're getting reported that their strings are being pulled. Their strings are being pulled by someone that must be in a very tall building with a beautiful suit on, and the best watch, a Rolex watch, best, because someone in a very important position with a lot of power, and which is always accompanied by a lot of money, is pulling the strings on this. So why isn't Veronica Escobar? Why isn't Governor Abbott? Why isn't Bill Hicks responding to our faxes, our letters that we have sent in? Why isn't Jaime Esparza, who is the AG, who's pulling his chain? This is all, when I say it's like JFK, it is. It's this collusion. It's a certain group of people, maybe one man, maybe a little group of people that is pulling everyone's chain, because everybody is now an employee. So they have to let their chains be pulled, and chains is so fitting, because that kind of says, oh, you're a slave. You're a slave. You're not a servant. You're a slave, because your whole future and everything is dependent on responding to your chain being pulled. And that's what's happening here. And didn't want another Vanessa Guillen. That leak came out. from Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe's meetings that they did not want another Vanessa Guillen, and that they would go to these huge extent, because you have to remember in Vanessa Guillen's case, so many people lost their job. They were protecting their employment, right? They were protecting their future retirement, that and all of their benefits that they get, and in the military, and in the DOD and the DOJ, and all of the government positions, you get some really nice perks. And so the thought of not having those perks, the thought of not getting a retirement or a paycheck is very, very difficult. And so our society, what it's done is made people slaves to unbelievable evil that can pull their chain and make them also bow down, and be groomed into unbelievable evil. And that's where we're at today, with them dividing Richard's body up. I'm really believing that at this point with everything that I'm reading, and I'm pretty thorough. You know, there is a chance that these leaks are just wicked, but I'm looking at all the pieces and how they fit together, and they fit too nice, y'all. They fit too nice, and I don't know. I don't know. It would be a really cruel joke, but it what it does is it makes everything else make sense. Why they wouldn't even give us the canine's name or the handler's name? Why they conducted a stage task force Find Richard Halliday? Why they didn't care about it? They weren't even in uniform. They didn't have an op board. What the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado in the G3 was saying, all of it fits together. It There's not one piece of the leaks that we are getting that contradicts our timeline, that we have only put on there things that we are very, very sure of and that we know are facts. And so it makes the whole timeline fit. It puts it all together. So I'm feeling blessed that we're getting this information, and we got this information after we decided to organize, and Rob organized the prayer vigil. And I just want to say thank you to my husband for that, and he did such a good job. It was just it was so wonderful, and we did have some press come, so we're thinking maybe we should do that more often. Maybe we should do that more often. So because Richard is now the Richard the 1000, right? That's what he is right now, Richard the 1000. And it really is not a badge of honor. It is really a badge of disgrace for our government, our military, and the those that are servants that have turned into slaves, with these chains on them. It is really very, very sad. And it all has to do with money, and it all has to do with that border. And, and I want to share a little bit about what's going on. Let me.
Has done nothing but facilitate this crisis. You
Mm-hmm.
changed Title 42. You allowed hundreds of thousands of migrant children to come across the border, and then you made it worse when they became a political crisis for you. When that huge surge of kids across the border because you changed Title 42, when it became an optics crisis, what did you do? You began pressuring officials and agencies to skip the vetting process and get these kids out as soon as possible to sponsors who weren't vetted. Here's the Times again. As shelters filled with children have at every stage facilitated this modern day indentured servitude of minor children. Why should you not be impeached for this?
Senator, I look forward to discussing this issue further because you are misstating the facts so terribly.
I am reading you the facts from articles in the news, and your usual modus operandi is what you're doing again today, was just to deny, deny, deny. Why have you permitted 345,000 children to come into this country unaccompanied? Why have you permitted thousands of them to be abused and exploited?
What we do is we enforce the law. But let me just say this.
No, you're not.
It is stunning to me, stunning, to hear you say that the prior administration reunited children with their parents.
Oh, I see. So this is their fault? So you're not going to take any responsibility for the indentured servitude and exploitation of children that is happening on your watch. A moment ago, you were crowing about the fact that you treated children so well, and yet we find tens of thousands of children who are forced to work as slaves because of your policies, and you turn around and blame a prior administration. Mr. Secretary, this is par for the course for you. You do it every time you appear before this committee. You do it every time you appear before Congress. I, for one, am sick and tired of it, and thousands of children are in physical danger. Danger because of what...
Mm-hmm. Oh, I wanted to leave that on. Oh, and I didn't put the, I'm sorry, I didn't put the volume on. But I'll tell you real quick what he was saying. What he was saying is that 340,000 unaccompanied children have crossed the border in 2021 and 2022. Remember, it was 20,000 and no, 20,000 unaccounted for. So, we have thousands and thousands that are, they rush through and they just give them to anybody. And, so this is a real, real problem. And why am I playing this? Why does it matter to Richard's case? Well, Richard made the Child Protective Service complaint, right? And he was right there on the border. And we've had a FOIA out. It's been 2 years. And they're not giving us. They keep delaying and delaying. And, that's criminal. That's a crime for them not to answer our FOIA and for us to be blocked in so many ways in our rights to try to get help to get those FOIAs. So, I just want to tell you that something's going on at the border. It's been going on. Richard was calling it out, and it absolutely has to do with sex. It has to do with the grooming. It has to do with sexual assault. And so it's really, really important. All of these are about that. Now, this is something else that's really, really important. That
a gun owner of many different types and a 20-year military veteran. I have some expertise in weaponry and self-defense weapons. What could you, in 15 seconds, would you define an assault weapon for me?
So
if you go past 15 seconds, I'll just interrupt you.
Yeah, so I'll go shorter than that because I honestly, I do think that's if Congress wishes to take that up, I think Congress would have to do the work, but we would be there to provide technical assistance. Unlike you, I'm not a firearms expert to the same extent as you may be, but we have people at ATF who can talk about velocity of firearms, what damage different kinds of firearms cause, so that whatever determination you chose to make would be an informed.
So he doesn't even know the definition of the weapons. Sorry. So I thought that was very telling because we have like a flow of U.S. weapons going into Mexico. We know that. And now in the crimes in Mexico, I just heard a statistic that 80% of them are from weapons that are from the United States. What are we doing? What are we doing to our partner country? Our we share a border with Mexico. Um, what are we doing to add to their crime and everything? Uh, it's yeah. Uh, and I'm thinking that these are illegal weapons. Are they buying them? I don't know. I don't know the whole thing. But when our ATF is not able to define an assault weapon, that's very concerning. Absolutely. And do I think that this is about weapons? I think it has to do with weapons because you can't do human trafficking without weapons. You can't do all the porn without weapons and drugs. I think that look, if you're going to risk human trafficking charges, right? And then you're going to get into pornography. Let's sell that. And then if you're doing that, well, why not add the drugs? I mean, we're already, doing all the other stuff. So one leads to the other. And so I absolutely, why we can't get answers, I think it exposes so much crime when it comes to, look, our barracks are marketplaces for illegal drugs. They're using our service members as part of their business plan. They're using these recruiters to go in and say, look, we'll give you $25,000. You'll be part of a family. You're going to get such great training. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Promising the moon and back. And what really it is let's bring in these young, naive service members. I wanted to say soldiers. And, surround them with hookers and blow. And we'll provide it for them. We'll provide it, and that $25,000 enlistment, it will essentially go into our pocket. So it's like one big money laundering business plan scheme. And so when Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe and his SJA, which is a lawyer, was trying to convince us that the United States Army takes underage drinking seriously. I believe them. I believe them, but not the way they wanted me to believe them. They take it seriously as part of their business plan. They want to sell them. They have the Class 6 right beside the barracks, y'all. They have the barracks as co-ed, so they don't even care about sexual assault. And this was another. Oh yeah, this right here. I have to play for you. It's so telling.
He nor General Milley could defend some of the bizarre DEI activities that were going on at Dodoa, and then promptly after my questioning, they shut down the DEI entity at Dodoa. And so maybe we can make similar progress today. Ms. Wormuth, do you acknowledge that some of the strange manifestations...
Okay. I'm going to turn this off just for 1 second and just tell you that Christine Wormuth is who he's talking to, and she is the Secretary of the Army. She's the Secretary of the Army. I don't know who she is. Did she go fight in a battle or something like that? I don't know. Is that normal? Is that smart? Does that make sense that you're the Secretary of the Army? And who is she? I don't know her. And I've been around the military a long time. I don't know. It just seems strange to me. And it seems that her agenda is a foreign agenda. It's a foreign ideology. And it's not good for the military. And you're going to see it right here. And sitting beside her was, it's General McConville. And General McConville is just like, like a little puppy. He shows such weakness every time I see him. And he's a 4-star general, y'all. He is a 4-star. And so what I stated on when I posted this is, take off our beautiful uniform. Take it off and take off those stars. They've committed crimes against humanity. He's the one that put together that sabotage stage task force, Find Richard Halliday. He's the one we talked to a few times. I think 2 times I talked to him. And, with Major General Donna Martin, he lied to us, y'all. He lied. He doesn't care about Richard. He doesn't care about Richard. It was just, anyway, I don't want to go into it. I hope you believe me. Go back and look at some old videos where it was right after we were talking to him, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to do a Find Richard Halliday. And then he just lied to us. He just made us look like fools, and he meant to make us look like fools. And it's such a betrayal. It's so dishonorable. There's no integrity. There's no moral compass. There's no personal courage. There's no selfless service. He is getting his chains pulled by somebody too. And you know that with Senator Cruz, because Warmoth, whoever she has a lot of power, even though her position is 23 ranks lower than Senator Cruz. She is Senator Cruz's subordinate, but she pulls his chains, or she could flip him off, and he can't do anything about it. So let's watch this. I think it's very telling.
Of this DEI embrace have put negative pressures on the Army's recruiting?
Congressman, I'm not sure exactly what specifically you're referring to, but when we've done
so
surveys...
if you could put that slide up on the screen, I'll give you one. I thought that might be where this was going. So this is a Vignette 8. It's an Army training, and it's regarding the use of showers. The vignette reads, a soldier transitioned from male to female, as indicated in DEERS. The soldier did not have sex reassignment surgery. The transgender service member is using the female showers and has expressed privacy concerns regarding the open bay shower configuration. Similarly, other soldiers have expressed discomfort showering with a female who has male genitalia. And then if you look over at subpart 3 regarding the considerations, it just says, all soldiers will use the billeting, bathroom, and shower facilities associated with their gender marker in DEERS. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction, Congressman, is we're focused on building cohesive teams that are trained, disciplined, and fit.
Well, General McConville, I'll give you the next chance. Do you think that it builds cohesive teams to have biological males showering with women?
I think we need to respect the privacy of our soldiers and have a environment where everyone can thrive.
Look how weak he looks.
Well, of course, but that's not an answer to my question.
Take off that uniform.
Well,
you and I spent a good amount of productive time yesterday talking about cohesive team building.
We did.
Does this advance cohesive team building in your best military
crimes
opinion?
Against humanity, y'all.
Well, I think the fact we're talking about this and not talking about warfighting is problematic.
Well, but that's what the Army does, General. I'm looking here. Army policy on transgender military service where you guys require training on this stuff. So don't you think that when you require training on how to deal with men and women's shower stalls and when you have these mandatory trainings on transgender service members, that takes away from our focus on warfighting?
Yeah, I think what, again, from Chief of Staff of the Army, my focus is very clear. I talk to every commander, every sergeant major in the Army. I do it every single month. And what I talk about is our job is build cohesive teams that are highly trained, they're disciplined, they're fit, and they're ready to fight and win. And that's where I'm at.
But I am positive that when there is a focus on how biological men are going to shower with women and on unconscious bias training, which you require, and on mandatory gender sensitivity training, that the call is coming from inside the house at DOD on some of these problems. And the proof's in the pudding. That there seems to be a cognitive dissonance between your recruiting nightmare that we are living through, the nation's recruiting nightmare at the Army, and this kind of stuff. Because I don't think it's going to be a big, like, positive recruiting pitch to women that when someone shows up with male genitalia in their shower stall, that we tell them that we're trying to build a cohesive team. I would posit to you that that probably makes the team a little less cohesive. Mm-hmm. Will you allow for even that possibility?
Congressman, what we've seen in our surveys is that basically women are more worried about being sexually harassed in the Army than they are about the kinds of things
Well,
that you're
don't you
bringing up.
think that someone might get sexually harassed if they're showering with a biological male? Don't you think that environment could potentially increase the likelihood of that? We're all concerned about sexual harassment.
Has no
We've
brain.
grappled with these challenges about how to have it in the chain of command or outside the chain of command, but it seems a little silly to sit here and have discussions about the flow chart of a sexual harassment complaint when you've got people with male genitalia showering with your female soldiers. I want to recruit talented women into our Army, and I'm concerned that this weird stuff that you guys are doing is not going to make it more likely that those people are going to sign up. General McConville, you and I spoke yesterday about the fact that the Army has to recruit extensively men from the American South, that makes up a wide variety of who's coming into the United States Army. You think you're going to recruit more of them with this kind of stuff?
Probably not.
And that's the point. And I appreciate the honesty. And I know that in August you conclude a storied career, and we thank you both for your service. And we did get somewhere with this last time with Secretary Austin, and I hope you all will reflect on the damage that this embrace of DEI is doing to the military.
Yeah, so this is... that just touched on so much of what we have seen, what we have gone through. If, whose bright idea was it to make the barracks co-ed when it's at least 9-1? Sometimes it's 20-1, 20 males to 1 female. And then we have the leadership not even wanting to define what a female is, not wanting to define what a male is. I mean, this is absolute insanity. And she's worried about sexual harassment. Hello. Then whose bright idea was to have co-ed barracks? And now you want to have like co-ed showers. And, okay, so I'll just say I'm transitioning so I can go into if I'm a pervert, and I can go into the women's shower, and the risk to our women just went up very high for sexual harassment and sexual assault. They're so ludicrous in their thinking. They have no bright ideas. They can't put it together. They have no idea. We have people in charge of our military right now that don't have any idea what it takes to create a military with esprit de corps, with the Medal of Honor ethos, Army strong, be all you can be, leave no soldier behind. What it takes to make a very strong, mentally strong fighting force. They don't. And, I'm shocked because, anyone that has half a brain would absolutely know that physically, for the most part, men are stronger than women. Men are different than women. Women have different gifts. Men have different gifts. Women have different talents from men. They are different. They're absolutely different. And the roles when you play in the security of your nation are vital to understand the difference between a man and a woman, and to keep them, from unnecessary harm. Because you put them together, they're going to develop relationships. The relationships are going to get sometimes pretty volatile, and that volatility will end up in people getting hurt, sometimes, a lot of times, getting murdered. And we see that in our statistics in the military. And they don't do anything to at least restrain those kind of situations. And so Richard found himself in totally insanity. And we're getting reports that not only did he report on the child abuse and these child porn videos, but that he was also reporting on sexual assault. Because that's the norm now, to have all this sexual assault. It's like Christine Wormuth, the Secretary of the Army, and General McConville, who's wearing our beautiful uniform with 4 stars that I wish he would take off. And he's going to go into retirement, but then he'll get some kind of contract job and have power too. It's just so, and he committed crimes against humanity, y'all. They've committed crimes against humanity. Very clearly. And if you watch the rest of what's going on in Congress, you'll see that. And it was because of those crimes against humanity. And I'm going to really, people go, why do you talk about the COVID stuff? Why do you talk about the crimes against humanity in reference to Richard's case? Because it was the crimes against humanity that caused 2 of our son-in-laws to lose their jobs. July 2020. So June, July, everything was going crazy. They have children that they have to provide for. And it was such a chaotic time. And I think the direct crimes against humanity, the COVID nonsense, that absolute assault on the world and on any small business owner, on any working person that lost their job during that time, hurt what was happening in our military. Of course, because we know the DOD led it. They led that whole crimes against humanity. They funded it. They funded that whole thing. And it was because of us being preoccupied with everything else, with the COVID, that I think I don't know, because, well, let's just say it did preoccupy us to, because we assumed that Richard was okay. You see, we assumed, and everybody had so much chaos going on to try to get everything going again, that we weren't texting or we weren't aware. So I think absolutely it hindered and perpetuated the crimes against humanity on Find Richard Halliday. And then once we did find out that Richard was missing by calling, he was already dead in the grave. They already had done autopsies on his body parts. And they were so nervous, because of Vanessa Guillen, they were in cover-up mode, and they had plenty of time to cover up. And their chains, people say strings, but in this case, it's chains. Their chains are getting pulled. They're connected like in a, what are those prisoners in the gangs that they're all chained together? The chain gang, right? I mean, That's what's going on right now. And they're even doing it to children. And so we had to say these prayers today. We had to say these prayers. And I had a comment that how can you pray for Veronica Escobar, cover up Veronica, when she is just clearly so evil in this? Because she has so much power. We're just learning. We've researched and read, learning how much power she has in all of this. And here she stood with us saying she was going to get a third party involved. She never did that. She never did that. That was the last time we really talked to her. 2020. She should be on this. She should be absolutely in communication with us, getting our FOIA answered for us, protecting our rights to speech and to rally and to pray, and making sure that Bill Hicks is protecting us. Absolutely. That's her job as a representative. And here we are praying for her to be blessed, blessed with a heart. Because right now she's heartless. And so, I thought it was a really big success, and it really gave us some energy, gave us purpose. Praying does that. It just gives you a purpose, and it brings people together, the communion of the saints. And we got a lot of responses. We got a lot of help. We even got some fruit. Thank you so much, Helen, for the fruit. That was really wonderful when we came back. And we got a little bit of hate, a little bit of ugliness. And why? The only reason why a person would be ugly to a family that's praying for their 1,000 days of missing their son would because they have skin in the game. Because they have skin in the game, they're scared. They're scared that our leaks that are telling us. The leaks are telling us, and we have a witness testimony too, that Dallas Hart was the XO of Delta Battery 143, ADA, Richards. We also are getting information that he testified to the sheriffs about the disappearance of Richard as the XO of Delta Battery 143. Now, that needs to be answered. And we, he was with Delta Battery 243. Okay, but why did you wipe off your whole military history then off of the computer when, you have all these fond memories of the military and you get out? Nothing makes sense except for you're hiding that you are Delta Battery 143, the XO. And I'm just saying, we're getting that kind of information in. And so when you have another lie being exposed, then it makes those autopsies more believable every day. And the more that they're quiet, all Lieutenant General Bernabe or what's his name, Eisenhower, I think he's a Major General Eisenhower, Brigadier General Stewart, all they would have to do is send us a letter saying, vouching for Dallas Hart being in Delta Battery 243 instead of 143, and saying he never was in Delta Battery 143, because we're getting that he was the XO, and we have a witness testimony saying that he was the XO of Delta 143. So, yeah. So is that catching in another lie? Because absolutely he knew Tavita Nusa. Absolutely. That's just to say, so I'm thinking that there's a lot of skin in the game there, and we need, let's say he's not believable at this point. And I prayed for him today, for his innocence. So it's not like I'm against him, but I think that his mother's role in this, he shouldn't mind at all after what Richard was put through, the brutal murder of our son, and the dismemberment of our son, to prove his case, his alibi, a little bit better. I don't think he should mind at all. I think he should find it as part of his duty to do that. So, especially when we're in this ludicrous ran military by the likes of Christine Wormuth and General McConville to be in Congress and try to fight for the right of men to take showers with women. Yeah. But I want to be a woman. I want to be a man. No, y'all, you see, this hurts our national security. If you feel like that you do not feel comfortable in your own skin, don't join the military. Because there needs to be clear definitions for the well-functioning of and the health of our military. So, and with that, I think recruiting would go way up if they defined what a woman is, defined what a man is, and protected them and their identities as a man and a woman, and not get into all this transgender stuff. If you're transgender, you're not eligible. Just like you're not eligible for so many other reasons. If you have major health problems, or if you're, whatever. It's not disrespectful at all. I remember being in dance. We had to weigh a certain amount. We had to be able to be limber. You couldn't be in the high kickers if you couldn't high kick. You couldn't be in the high kickers if you couldn't do the splits. You couldn't be in the high kickers if you were tone deaf. You couldn't do it. If you didn't know how to dance in the chorus line, you had to get out. There were clear definitions for what you were being recruited in to do. And when it comes to our military, it's very clear that our military is to defend the Constitution of the United States, the land and the people. And so this is what Richard thought that he was joining. And all of a sudden, he's joining a sex grooming doggy cult. And he's having to protect himself from sexual assault. He's trying to protect women from a sexual assault. He's trying to protect children from sexual assault, from even exploiting children with pornography. And then he's bullied for trying to do it. Then he's retaliated against. His whistleblowing protection is exposed, and he has a target on his back, and he has to go through continuous severe retaliation for months, and then ends up that they plot against him. They lure him out. With his uniform on and brutally, I think he was on duty. They told him he was on duty, and they brutally murdered him, cut him asunder, dismembered him even more, put him in because the autopsy reports talk about that, y'all. And separate him and bury him different places. They talk about the fragments. So I just want to say thank you so much to my family and, of course, my grandbabies that were there today. They did really, really well for something like that, and they're very young. So I was just, we took them to a park afterwards, treated them to a meal, and let them run in this beautiful park, play and everything like that. So it was really great. I don't know how many people this will reach, but I know that it will reach the ears of Graham, Senator Graham, that it didn't do him any good. He needs to reevaluate his stance. He threw us out. And also William Timmons, who it does not have a good reputation at all in this area. I've been getting talks. No one runs. It's like we've lost control over our government, and nobody wants to run and be part of the wickedness because they know that they're going to be dragged into the unbelievable evil. And so, so I'm glad that we had time to pray about that also, for our service members, for our Department of Justice, for our government officials, for the land and the people, for our children, for Veronica Escobar, separately with William Timmons, for Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, and also for Richard, for the families. I probably said that already. And you can find what we prayed about on Find Richard Halliday. You can find it on Telegram, and I believe I posted it up on Twitter. So, yeah. Okay, so if you have any questions, the response was huge. I just want to say that. The response was huge. Thank you so much, everybody. Tomorrow, absolutely tomorrow, I'm going to give you some more information about the sheriff's report, about the FBI report, the leaks that have come in about that. I think those are very important. The CID report. We're getting all kinds of leaks right now. And, I need to share them, but I need to go through them. I've been going through them to make sure I get things that I believe are true. What I know is absolutely false. I just dumped that. But things that are true, possibly true, I want to put out there so I can get feedback. And, there's so much information. It's just piles of it. Piles. Because people are sick of this. They're absolutely sick of the murders. They're sick of the suicides. They're sick of the guns being going across the border and being part of this. You have the guy from ATF not even being able to define what an assault weapon is. You have people not even there's a problem with our officials if they can't define things in their job. It's just total chaos. And we're trying to make order out of the chaos that Richard found himself in so that we can figure out what happened to him. So, I think we have it all. We have enough anyway. More and more information's coming out, and we just need to get everyone to understand this case. And I can tell you, if you understand JFK's assassination, I think that will help you understand this case, because this is a cover-up, y'all. This is a cover-up of the murder of a young soldier, and they covered up because they didn't want another Vanessa Guillen. They went along with the murder and covered it up. So it became more than just one crime. It became many, many, many crimes. And it really is a national security threat, because if they could do this to one, I'm sure Richard's not the first, they could do it to many. Questions? Thank you. I used to live down the street from Fort Bliss, and it's very strict. I don't know how they've done anything about him missing. Yeah. I know. The war is Dollar General. Yeah. Because they didn't want another Vanessa Guillen. Richard Halliday is the very first CONUS Dust 1 missing soldier placed on the Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart. Thank you. And, I was telling the press that were there that exact information today. So that's very, very important, because that was hypocritical. Not only are they covering up, not only are they committing more and more crimes, but then they're being hypocritical with these giving service members hope, saying, oh, we have been driven to make changes to secure the safety of our soldiers, and so that we've changed that whole. They're no longer AWOL, but they don't do anything. They didn't even contact us. They haven't had urgency since the beginning. They still don't have urgency right now. Their silence is deafening. Their silence is very loud when it comes to we're covering up. That's what they're screaming at us. So they seem to just care of the name, not for their soldiers, in my opinion. Absolutely. They care about the criminal syndicate at the borders. They have to be involved with the crime at the borders. Otherwise, everything that they would do would be different. They wouldn't participate in this nonsense that we just heard about. You see, we would have secure borders. We would have very tight military installations. We would have fine-tuned definitions for the running of the military. Those standard operating procedures would be followed. Our barracks would be clean. Suicides and sexual harassment would be a rarity, because the punishments for those would be so tough, right? And they would absolutely look into the backgrounds of anybody that wanted to join the military. It would be an elite group because, it's not numbers today because we have asymmetric warfare tactics. So, and that's what I really wanted to talk about today. They have this is their asymmetric warfare tactics to make men shower with women and then call the men like women and confuse everything. Those are asymmetric warfare tactics to take over our country, to destroy our military, to destroy our national security, to infiltrate our intelligence, right? To get our intelligence. And so, that's asymmetric warfare. But I want to tell you, God is the best, He is the King of Kings. And He definitely is the King of Kings of asymmetric warfare, because even the stars in their course fought against Sisera. So that's how we found out about this, all these leaks about the father-in-law, about Hemasochil, about the canines, about Kilometer 29, about, so many things, the MP guard mount, because God is the ultimate asymmetric warfare tactician, and He always wins. It's like playing chess, and they're trying to play chess with God, and they're going to lose. They're absolutely going to lose. And I know that in some churches, they are like giving up this world. Like the devil, like Satan, has power over this world and is going to be victorious over this world. Well, I don't believe that at all. I don't think Satan has anything to hold up compared to God. And God could snuff him out like that. And that this world, the land, the people, the animals, the air we breathe, the clouds, the rainbows, everything belong to God. It is His, and He's going to be victorious over it. And that's my belief. Because, because Satan is just a creature. Satan is not God. And we have the rise of these cults that worship Satan. And why would you want to worship a creature that can be snuffed out in a second by the ultimate asymmetric warfare tactician that created all things, that was never created because He always was? And also in Trinity, the one and the many. So it's very, very clear that you need to be on the winning team, and the winning team is a servant, not a slave. Right? And I've seen very clearly through all of this that people are wearing chains, and their chains are getting pulled, and they're being pulled into unbelievable evil. And so good people are being pulled into unbelievable evil. And it's very sad. Very, very sad. Is Dallas Hart one of them? I don't know. I don't know if he's just like a privileged partner with whoever has the chains. I don't know. I know that I don't believe what he has to say. I don't believe the military or the CID right now, or the Department of Justice right now. I don't. And that's why, and that's not a bad thing, y'all. They haven't deserved it. They don't deserve our trust. So they're still in those positions. So that's why we asked for an official document that's stamped, has a watermark on their paper, and that there's a signature. And why is that too much to ask? I don't think it is. God has shined a light. That's right, in Richard's case. Oh, yeah. Because can you imagine at the beginning of all of this? They were just attacking him. They just wanted people, the populace, to think that he wasn't worth finding. And I'll tell you this, my mom and dad, my dad was still alive then. They were like, he was so happy. When he graduated, when we saw him, he was just so happy. So it was Christine Wormuth's. It was the leadership, and he did join under Donald Trump. And, that is a question that you can't ignore. Because when you join the military, you join to obey the President of the United States. And the question is, was the President of the United States being respected as a commander-in-chief at the time? And he wasn't. They weren't following his orders. So, and we know that through these hearings that I've been listening to. So what's going on right now? Who's really pulling the chains in the military? That's a big question. And they're yeah. And because of all of those questions, we're put into danger just because we want to find out what happened to our son. Sydney Hernandez, RGV, please look at this story and help if you can in any way. Okay. I thank you for coming on. Yeah, 1,000 days. We're there. We're at 1,000 days right now. My heart breaks for you. And Richard, I'm sorry this happened. Thank you. Thank you, Lopez. Yvette Lopez, thank you. El Paso, Texas is very strict. I don't think they were. Well, maybe because of us hammering on it so much. Maybe we helped. I don't know. I know that there's a lot of reports coming to me that are not too good. So we just got to keep on telling them that we have an eye on them, and that we want to know where our volunteer sons and daughters are. And they don't need to be put in harm's way when they're in a military installation right here at home. It's bad enough that they get put into danger, and a lot of times these unjust wars. So, and another thing, why are recruiters allowed to go to high schools? Did you know, I just heard today that in Israel, you have to be 20 years old to go in the military. And I went, yep, that makes sense, because biblically, you cannot be under 20 to be in the military. And that's why we have a petition, and I need to revisit those and put them up. But we have a petition that recruiters can't go near our children until, not even near a high school, until they are 20 years old. So, yeah, I hope you sign that petition. We need to revisit that. Okay, thank you, everyone, for your support. And it's been a long day, so I will be back tomorrow, God willing, with new information to help find our son. Thank you so much. That was a pretty emotional day, so thank you.